Then the fans will sing We're Destruction live because they are part of our success.
I have no idea how that's possible.
It has this Judas Priest vibe a little bit. We all need new headliners, classic metal headliners.
You're gonna wear a tie?
I don't see myself like that, actually.
Cheesy lyrics. You know what? I think in the year 2025, you kind of need them sometimes.
My guitar player already said, we want to see you in the tie and Spears. I said, you, no way.
Hello, you Metal Pilgrims, and a very special welcome on this interview episode, because today, once again, I'm more than happy to welcome nobody else but Schmier from Destruction. Schmier, thank you so much for...
Hey,
how are you,
good to be in the show again, man. It's been already a couple of years, huh?
Yeah. Well, I did a little break, when the war started in Ukraine. I didn't do any interviews, and it was right the time when you guys released your previous studio album, so...
I remember it was actually, the day the war started, our second single came out,
Yeah.
No Faith in Humanity. It was crazy, actually, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm back, and I'm super happy to have you back, man. How's everything? Where are you at?
I'm home in Germany. We just came back from Greece. We had some sold out shows in Greece. It was fantastic. And now we have the movie coming out soon. So we have announced today the first screening of the movies.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the interviews, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We have the new single coming in 2 weeks already. So right now it's like overwhelming. A lot of stuff's happening. Also, we have a lot of great news now. Album of the month at German Rock Hard magazine, title story, cover stories going on. So the album gets a lot of attention, and that's great. Actually, it's
freaking awesome, man. But let's do it one by one. First, obviously, the biggest news. Obviously, the movie is a good news and it's huge news, but the biggest news is the release of Birth of Malice, which will be out on March 7th. So congrats on letting it all out and, getting your baby out in the world.
Yeah, it's always exciting. Every album is exciting, and this one is especially because we already done with it now for we mix it in summer, so I can look back already like 6 months, 7 months. And it still sounds good, so it's a good sign. And
So,
but you want people to hear it finally. It's like, come on, let's get it out there. But nowadays, the procedure takes longer with all the digital release and blah blah. So the labels need more time. And for the musician, back in the day, we recorded the album in the 80s. I remember the Infernal Overkill. So we recorded it in September. It was out end of October, boom, like this, and now it's all big. It takes time.
And you had to print it, there was no lines for printing it on vinyl or whatever it is. Yeah, now it's insane.
There was no lines. Nowadays, there's not enough printing factories for vinyl. Yeah,
Absolutely. We should open one. One more.
I mean, Napalm, our label, they have their own now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they built their own factory.
Right about fucking time. I mean, they do so many releases, and everyone loves vinyl. I mean, I buy vinyl all the time. That's the only physical thing I buy all the time. But of all my favorite albums, so yeah, why not? Why not? So talking about this album, can you take a little bit of us back? And for you, it's been way back, right? Like a year ago.
Yeah, I started in January.
Yes.
January last year, I started writing when I came back from tour. I was like, okay, we have 4 weeks off or so, let's write. And then I started writing. We met in the studio for the first recordings. We went back on tour, and then we made it back and forth. Like when I was home, I started writing again. We met at the studio, recorded, then we went back on tour. We did this like on the last 2 albums already, and it kind of keeps you fresh, it keeps the momentum. You bring the energy from the live shows. You don't get bored about the writing, but sometimes when you write and record, you get in the loop, you get like it gets too, I don't know, too clinical in the studio, So this way we have also the opportunity to change stuff, That means once I look back at the demos, I can say after some weeks, okay, let's do a new chorus, let's do a new solo, or let's change the beginning of the song. And back in the day, we recorded for 4 or 5 weeks. Album was mixed, album was done. 6 months later, you're like, fuck, let's change the solo, let's change the chorus. So we learned from this, and that's why it's in 3 albums, we're doing it this way. And now I look back 6 months later, and I'm like, I love the album still. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a good sign, you
But
know.
you wouldn't change a thing on it now, looking back at it.
Actually, no, I still I just yesterday I listened to some of the albums because we still deciding about the live songs that we're gonna play, and I still love it. It's actually nothing I would change at the moment. Maybe in 1 year it's gonna be different, but at the moment I'm really happy with the whole result, and that's a good sign.
Well, I had a chance of listening to the entire album, obviously, and I gotta say I love it. I think it's one of the strongest outputs you guys did in the, in the recent years for sure. I'm a fan of. I've been following Destruction since I don't know how many years ago. So I love your 80s stuff, but this was extremely well put, and it's very cohesive. And one of the things that struck me was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the lyrics and the themes that you're opening up on this one are even a bit more profound than usual in a way. So any particular influences that you think affected your songwriting on this album?
I mean, actually, you know, I travel the world, and a lot of stuff that I see affects my songwriting, you know. And like an example, I came back from tour, uh, anniversary tour, 40 years, and then I wrote the song Destruction. And the first word of the lyrics are looking back in time. That's how I started. I'm reflecting from tour, home from tour. I'm looking back in time and I'm writing it down, you know. And so that's how I started to write the song. And this is like what I call the Manowar kind of lyrics, where it's us and the fans, and 40 years together, and it's fun to write. Of course, it's some people might think it's cheesy, but it's cool because we bond with the fans, and the fans will sing like "We're Destruction Live" because they are part of our success, you know. And on the other hand, we have a lot of critical songs. Songs like "Cyber Warfare" is a song I wrote actually after we canceled the shows in Russia.
Mhm.
When the war started in the Ukraine, we had to cancel the shows in Russia, and we made a post about it on Facebook. And then what happened was that 10,000 of Russian bots attacked our Facebook site.
What a
It
flip.
was it was insane, and I'm getting the chills again because it was so intense that I had to call my bandmates, help me, help me, help me. We're getting invaded, you know. And
Yeah.
there was 10,000 of bots doing this whataboutism, like, oh, we didn't start the war, it's Ukraine's fault, blah blah, posting videos, links, and we had to erase and block all those bots, tens, thousands it was. And at the end, the post still had like 15K likes. It was insane. It was going off the roof. And then I was like, okay, we're a metal band from Germany. We have nothing to do with the world policy. We have no impact. And they invaded us like this. How
Mhm.
strong and how prepared is this Russian bot army?
Insane.
Insane. And then I was just googling about it, and getting into the thing and questioning, like, where's the war really starting? It's the internet. It's the shaping of opinion in the internet. It's the bots that are dividing people, and they conquer the people. And this is how war is done. In a part of the war, at least, is done in the year 2025 or 24. It was when I wrote it. So yeah, songs are made, maybe stuff that influenced me, that I need to write about. Because I experience it, I feel it, I see it, and then I write it down. And a lot of people don't have the gift that I have, that I can see the world, tour the world, that I can talk to a lot of people, and yeah, so I think this is how basically most of the songs are written on the album.
This is insane. And you're raising a very interesting point through this example of yours about cyber warfare, right? That in a way, in the world where so much post-truth, as they call it now, circulates around, and it is so easy with the internet to manipulate the truth,
It is.
we all value something real and authentic, right? And metal is what usually keeps us, with in touch with reality for so many of us. So you said something about cheesy lyrics. You know what? I think in the year 2025, you kind of need them sometimes. You kind
Of
of need
course.
truthful, cheesy lyrics to get you through the hardships of today. Because, man, I'll be honest with you, metal did help me out. It helped me out quite a lot to get through especially the first month of 2022. It was fucking insane for me, right? But metal and the cheesy metal lyrics as well, of whatever, go for it, live your life and don't give up. Like that kind of stuff helps quite a lot. So
Yeah, it is like this. And also sometimes people saying also my lyrics are negative. I don't see it that way. I criticize a lot, okay, and there's a lot of strong words in there, but also like a song like Evil Never Sleeps on this album,
yeah.
or Angst, those are songs that are basically trying to help people dealing with this stuff, dealing with fear and anxiety. Or Evil Never Sleeps, if you look into the lyrics, really, it's basically a hippie song. It says value your friends, value life, value what you have, and because evil is everywhere trying to destroy it.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to have still a good message coming across, even if the lyrics sound very negative, first of all, but they're not, because they give you an idea what's going on in my head, at least.
Well, just to be, going back to the album and reflect on this, "Evil Never Sleeps" is actually my favorite song of Birth of Malice. So
Really, okay,
it's a good one because I don't know, it's really resonated with me. Yeah,
it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different, but it's cool. I love it, man.
It has this Judas Priest vibe a little bit.
I love that stuff, right?
I'm a big Priest fan too, so.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. So, man, this is the second album with the same lineup, with a stable lineup for you. And the ironic thing, we spoke to you last time, right when Mike left the band, right? So it was
Yeah.
you guys were in the transition right away, and you were kind of on the verge of this new thing. So, do you still feel like it's a new lineup, or do you already?
No, 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 no. I mean, I don't know how many shows we played, 200, 250 since then.
Yeah.
It's 3 years ago. We did two Latin American tours, European tour. We did American tour. We toured everywhere, almost, just not in Asia this time. So we had a lot of shows. I mean, the band gets together, the band gets tight. We know each other. We appreciate each other. Everybody has a different strengths. It becomes a unit. So
Mhm.
the lineup was in the studio very clear what everybody has to do. I know, when I write with the guys, I know who's good at what, and who I can ask to help me produce, and who plays more of this and that. And that's actually the experience of the last years is there. And we try to get the momentum that we have, this that we feel the band is good now. We're tied. We get along. We feel great together on stage. We try to put this in the studio, and it worked pretty good. It's true that when you don't get along, you
Mhm.
don't write good music. It's
So true.
it's a fact. And I could tell this time that we all pulled on the same strings, and that helps.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And that's great to hear. Band is it's supposed to be much more than just a music group, right? You're supposed to be like buddies and
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, yeah. Of course. I mean, that's also the reason why most of those classic albums are done when the bands were intact, when the bands were friends. They were, in their rehearsal rooms growing up together. They wrote those songs, and
Yeah.
that's why they're so great. And also, that's maybe one of the reasons why Judas Priest is great again, because the new lineup works. Andy Sneap became a producer, a friend, the
Yeah.
new guitarist, and then with Faulkner, they got some new drive into the band, musical drive also. You can tell the chemistry is there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's all that matters at the end. Uh, Especially when you get older, it's not easier to write your best albums. But Priest just wrote two in a row. So
I have no idea how that's possible. Schmier, comparing the old school writing and the new school writing, has the technological leap of the past couple of years, especially with the rise of AI, and AI not only in terms of writing new music that helps, but overall it can be helpful in a bunch of things, including production already. Has it changed your the way you produce and write music for you, or you still do it in a very old school way?
I mean, we don't rehearse and record. We go in the studio and record right away. That means I come up with ideas, I bring them to the studio, and in the studio we record them right away. That means
Mhm.
the ideas I compose at home will right away turn into songs. This way we can reflect them quicker. This way we can all contribute quicker because you can send stuff around because we don't live close by, not all of us. And that's the most plus of the modern technology that we use. We don't do home recordings and stuff. We go to the real studio record because I think it's important for the vibe that you can focus on the music and you don't have to record yourself. And a lot of bands do home recordings and then they turn the home recordings into an album, but we still work in the studio because it's more expensive, but it's also the result is better. And I think the biggest plus is that we can send stuff around after we have demos right away. And the demos basically become later on the album, and we just exchange those things. We basically replay some of the guitars, we re-record the vocals, because sometimes I'm just singing I call it phantom vocals. I'm just words in there to have some vocal lines, And I think spontaneous work is the best. I had to learn to do first takes and accept that they're good enough, because you want to always do it better. But sometimes the first vibe of a song, the first vibe when you play it the first time is better than when you do it, redo it. It maybe gets more tight, but it doesn't have the vibe. So I had to learn this over the years to be brave enough to accept that also the first take can be the best take, So the modern technology is one thing that is great, because back in the day we had to record all through. There was no stop. You had to play the song till the end. The drummer had to play it till the end, even if you fucked it up, So that's a big plus here. You can go in and out and drop in and out. That's the big plus about the production. And but I wouldn't go that far and say using AI for recording. I don't think that's actually something we would ever do, because we want to be the persons that record the album, right? And I want to still have a person that records there, puts the bottom and talks to me and says, Schmier, your take was shit. Do it again,
And be honest about that.
Be honest about it, because this is the way you learn as a musician to get better,
Well, another song on the album which kind of stands out is obviously the cover on Accept's Fast as a Shark. So what did Accept mean for you when growing up, right? It's arguably the first German truly heavy metal band, and obviously one of the most influential around the world.
There was a couple of German bands that we loved, Scorpions, Trance, and others, but Accept was the first real heavy band. And then Breaker was already a strong album, but in '82 when Restless and Wild came out and Fast as a Shark blew our speakers, it was a life-changing moment, because this riff and the way the song structure, the solo, the vocals was just incredible. The first speed metal song maybe in history of Germany, at least. And I remember I was listening with my punk friend. My best friend was a punk, and he liked Exploited, Dead Kennedys, and he was always, you shit metal, it's so commercial, and you're making fun about each other and stuff. And then I played Fast as a Shark, and he was like, "What is this? I love it." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You're supposed to hate it?" and this was the first metal song my punk friend loved, And for me, the song has much more meaning than just the musical side. Also, the intro making fun about the conservative German country music, that my parents and my grandparents grew up with. And it stood for the conservative people's little minds for me, For me, it was a revolution making fun about the conservative people. And I remember as a kid, I opened the window of my little apartment and I played as loud as possible the intro and I sang along, and it was for me the moment to break out of the little routine of the little life and the countryside in Germany. It was the beginning of something special, this song, and that's why we had to cover it. We talked about it before, we didn't do it because at that time Mike, the old guitar player, didn't like to cover it, and but it's a challenging song also because it's classic. It has an amazing solo, and so I'm glad we did it finally. We were brave enough to do it, and the guitar player from Accept, Wolf Hoffman, wrote us a video message, and he kind of liked the song. He was positive about it, so
that's good.
It was a great moment. Yeah, it was a great moment.
So could you imagine that whatever teenage boy opening windows and blasting Fast as a Shark would grow himself into becoming one of the most influential German thrash metal musicians of all time.
Sometimes when I'm, when I'm driving in my car or sitting on the plane or waking up in Japan in a hotel room, then I'm kind of reflecting like this, and I'm like, what, man, it's unreal, like it's crazy what we have seen and what we have toured and played, and we just played in Dubai also some weeks ago, on Turkey again some weeks ago. Imagine back in the day, I would have laughed at you or say, shut the fuck up, get out, give me a beer, shut up, But now when I reflect, it's a lot of moments I get very emotional about it, and it's a big privilege, of course, and it makes me appreciate what we have, and hopefully we can do this some more years.
Talking about the next now generation of metal, I know you guys are pretty.
Keyboard bands, you mean, or which bands do you mean?
No, I'm talking about the metal bands that we all love, And one particular band that you guys are very close with is obviously Burning Witches as well. So
yeah.
Consider no, it's not about have you considered or not, but when will we finally hear a collab between Destruction and Burning Witches? That would be freaking awesome.
Who knows? I mean, it's I think when you work so close together, you're trying to avoid this at the beginning. You're trying to separate it. And we brought them on tour before, and I produced a lot of their albums, and they're trying to stand on their own feet now. I'm still there watching and helping when I can, but I also have a lot to do. But the cooperation is maybe going to happen sooner or later. Just we don't want to force it. It's going to happen spontaneously one day. I mean, there's those moments sometimes where I'm like, okay, this riff could be on a Destruction album too, but on the other side, it's maybe one day the time is right to do it, and then we're gonna just do it spontaneously.
Great. I mean, it's just time for new generations of bands to rise to to new standards, I feel like, and it will be.
Yeah. I mean, we all need new headliners. One day the new headliners will grow and the old bands will stop. Iron Maiden, Priest, they're all in their 70s now. So we need new headliners, also classic metal headliners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully Burning Witches and bands like this will be the future of for former headlining positions at big metal festivals.
And the last but not least for today, you just announced and you said about it yourself, Art of Destruction documentary, which will be out a day before the release of Birth of Malice. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is, what it will cover, and how you guys finally came to making one 40 years later?
It's a big project. There was this camera guy from German television that is a metalhead, and he approached to me 5 years ago and says, "Hey, what do you think?" And I said, "Wow, sounds cool. Let's do it." And he started to follow us for some tours, and then COVID hit, and the drama hit, and Mike left the band, and also we left Nuclear Blast, and we didn't know how's the future going to be, and it was a difficult time. And he kind of filmed all that, and it's basically a look behind the curtain. It kind of shows the struggles that you can have also, because people just see the new album, the stars on stage, they see the new video, everything's going great. It's not always like this, So it's a little bit look behind the curtain of a musician, a look in the backstage. And I think it has a very positive message in the end. And yeah, it's a privilege to do a movie, of course. We were like, wow. And it took 5 years now, it finally came out. It's also not so easy to make it real, because it's, on a record, I have full control. The movie, I have no control. The guy's filming it and he shows me and says, okay, and I said, this scene, cut this scene. He's like, no, he has to be in there. I said, I don't want this scene. And he says, but it needs to be in there for the drama of the movie. I'm like, okay, let's keep it in there. On my production, I can say I cut the bass where I want, but here I don't have full control. Also, the movie is coming to cinemas first. Now we have a screening in Berlin, the first premiere screening. Then we're going to have some single screenings all over Germany, hopefully all over Europe, hopefully one day all over the world. Awesome. The next step would be the movie comes into hopefully Amazon Prime or something, for streaming to watch at home. And then we also want to release it on DVD or Blu-ray. So that's also going to be the whole next year. Will be little steps just gonna kind of make, so hopefully one day everybody can see the movie in the cinema, at home, or buy the CD. It'll
That's
be
awesome. Now I'm excited to watch it, man. Make sure I'll make sure that I'll find it some way,
yeah, yeah.
some
I mean,
yeah,
a movie is something that you don't do every time, maybe once in your lifetime, right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's definitely a special moment, and we're privileged that it's going to be exciting to go to Berlin and have a premiere at the cinema with a red carpet and stuff. It's
You're gonna
cool.
wear a tie?
I don't see myself like that, actually. My guitar player already said, "We want to see you in the Times Square." I said, "Fuck you, no way."
A tie and a beer. Still open a beer and like fuck, I don't know. Well, man, on this cheerful note, any last message you want to say to your fans all across the world?
Yeah, we're looking forward to come on tour. This is I think we did a great album. I can't wait till people hear it. Because now, as I said, 6 months ago we mixed it, and now finally it's coming out next month. So I'm excited. It's always like a new baby, and you want people to finally take part of it. And I'm lucky we can release all those singles before. So one more single is coming in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then we can finally go on tour. Hopefully, we wanted to go to the States first, but now the Trump administration is kind of complicated with the visas, and so we might have to delay America and go there later and do some European shows first now. But we definitely want to tour a lot and see the fans all over the world. And there's some places we didn't play for a while, so hopefully we can do it with the album.
This is fucking awesome. Can't wait for everyone to hear it and share their opinion on
I'm
it.
glad you like it, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. This was Schmier, and Destruction's Birth of Malice will be out on March 7th via Napalm Records. Make sure to not miss it. Schmier, thank you so much, brother. It's always a pleasure to have
It's
you.
a
And
pleasure. I see you in Wacken latest, right?
yeah, I did.
You're always in Wacken, right?
Yes, it was in Vaken because I cannot get out of the country that easily, right? So
Yeah.
for me, I have to have a special permission. It has to be a fundraising trip. So Vaken was a fundraising trip for us.
Now you're going to come this summer too?
Um, hopefully, if everything's good, if everything's okay, I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah,
Okay. So hopefully see you there.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Maybe I'll visit some of Destruction shows. We can do something there, for hospitals or something like this. Who
All
knows?
right. Sounds good.
Absolutely, Shmir, a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Keep
man.
walking.
Always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
See you,
Stay
man.
safe.
Thank you, brother. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.